how to stay motivated is, are y'all ready for this? It might go over y'all heads, it might go over your head a little bit. Hey y'all, and welcome back to another video. You know what I'm saying. If you're new here, my name is Renee. Today's topic is going to be very fun. It's going to be kind of like a chatty kind of video, and I'm going to be talking about how to stay motivated. Now, disclaimer, I am no self-help guru. I am no guru. I am no spiritual guru. I am nothing of the sort, but I will share a couple of things that help me stay motivated. And by no means am I saying that I'm always motivated or I'm always kind of like doing all of these things that I'm going to be talking about, but I will say that when I do them, they really help me kind of like stay on track, stay focused and whatnot. So if you have trouble staying motivated, or you're just curious to see like what it is that I do to kind of keep myself on point, then please keep watching. And if you enjoy this video, make sure that you subscribe and leave me a like or a comment, because it's really appreciated. So first of all, yes, I changed it up, girl. I put like some flowers around me, I light a candle to set the mood, and yeah, so let's talk about it. Let's talk about how to stay motivated. How do I stay motivated? How do you stay motivated? Let me know in the comments down below. I would love to know, because I think this is a really like it's worth talking about, you know what I mean, and it's worth sharing with each other some things that we all do to kind of like keep ourselves in, you know, a positive vibe and a positive kind of not even, I don't like to overuse the word positive because it is kind of played out, but you know what I mean, kind of like a higher vibration kind of lifestyle where we are motivated and we are inspired and creative on a daily basis. So let's get into it. How to stay motivated. So yeah, I have my notes in this notebook. I write in so much, and it's funny because it has like dividers, and when I began writing in this notebook, I was like, okay, in the first section I'm going to be doing this, second section is going to be for this, and I find myself kind of just writing wherever I want, so that went out the window. But yeah, I do like to write things down, and this was just on my mind, so I figured why not make a video about it. And I definitely got inspired by a couple of things that I saw online recently, and just like, you know, the flow of my life and whatever. So how to stay motivated, these are a couple of tips that I have for you, and a couple of things that I do most of the time, not all the time, most of the time. So how to stay motivated. Do you have trouble staying motivated? Do you have trouble kind of giving yourself a reason, a rhyme and a reason, getting into the flow of things? These are some things that I do. The first thing that I would say is something that I have had to like kind of implement in my life, and one thing that I'm trying to do before I ever make a video talking about something like this is making sure that I'm actually doing the things that I'm suggesting, so like embodying the things that I am talking about more so. So this is something that I recently started doing that I think is really helpful to kind of stay motivated, and it's to kind of reward yourself periodically. And I watched this recent video from Amber Can, Quietest Revolution, and that's my girl. Like, I really like her take on things, and one of her most recent podcast episodes, was it, or maybe one of her videos on her YouTube channel, she mentioned this, and I thought it was really worth taking a look at and implementing in my life. And it's to reward yourself periodically, and this is something that I honestly do not do a lot. Like, I am very much a go-getter kind of person. I'm really like, do this, do that, do this, do that, do this, do that, you know, like very much in like my masculine energy. And I feel like when you reward yourself periodically, it kind of gives you more of an incentive to keep accomplishing more. And so I think it depends on what you're trying to accomplish, the way that you reward yourself. Like, for example, if you're trying to lose weight, you shouldn't reward yourself by going out to eat and like binge eating and eating like desserts and stuff, because that's gonna kind of like set you backwards. But like a reward to yourself could be like going to the spa, or you know, just doing something that you wouldn't normally do that you consider a treat. And it could be applied to anything. Like, if I do this, or if I accomplish this, if I save this amount of money, then I will spend this amount of money, you know what I mean? Or I will and Amber Can uses the example of like, once she saves a certain amount of money, she'll go out and she'll buy herself, you know, a gift to herself. That's something that she doesn't need, and it's not something that's practical. It's literally just something that is a gift to herself, like, you know, a designer item or something that she really doesn't need, and it's a reward. So if I do this, then I will do this. And I think saving money is a pretty good example, because, you know, a lot of us are trying to be, it's very much in the area of like, you know, financial independence and blah blah blah. I feel like I've been seeing a lot of this kind of thing floating around, just like, not even the internet, but just around like everyone's kind of conversations, and just like the energy in the air is very much talking about financial independence and being financially free and stuff like that. And there's so many, you know, different ways that this comes across, but I feel like that's really good, to reward yourself periodically, because not only are you going to get something out of it through the reward, but you are going to want to continue to keep going toward what it is that you want, because there's, you know, little milestones that you're setting for yourself, and it's really important that you acknowledge the little things that you're doing and not just keep striving for the next goal and the next goal and the next goal, which is something that I do. So like, it's very funny that I'm kind of like realizing this now, but yeah, rewarding yourself periodically, even like your little tiny milestones, being just as happy when you reach those little things as you would be when you've reached like your final goal. A lot of us just get happy and excited and kind of like we celebrate when we are finally at our destination. Like, say you want to lose 20 pounds, you'll only celebrate it when you lose 20 pounds. But what about those 5 pounds that you're losing every 2 weeks? Like, what are you gonna do when you do that? Why don't you go out and you buy yourself a pair of jeans that you didn't fit before? You know, kind of like celebrate these little things that you've been doing. I think it's really a good way to stay motivated, if you know what I mean. So Amber can put it very, very eloquently, and I couldn't say it better. And you can apply this to any aspect of your life when it comes to remaining motivated, because I know that a lot of us have different aspirations, different goals. We're not all the same. But if you just think about it in this way, like, if I do X, then I will do Y. If I lose when I lose 5 pounds, then I will buy a shirt that I couldn't fit in. When I save $2,000, then I will buy myself a gift that costs $200, or go out shopping with a budget of $300, just something that you wouldn't normally do. And I feel like this is a great way to kind of stay motivated and stay incentivized and stay inspired and stay creative, because when you acknowledge the little things that you're doing along the way, of course you're going to want to keep doing it more and more, and that's just something that you're doing for yourself. So I think that it even means more when you do those kinds of things. And yeah, just like celebrate your little accomplishments as much as you celebrate your big ones. So my first tip for staying motivated is to reward yourself periodically. Not all the time, not an overindulgent kind of like treat yourself every single day type thing, but you know, when you just acknowledge the little things that you're doing and reward yourself for those things in a way that's not setting you backwards. So yeah, that's one tip, how to stay motivated. My second tip on how to stay motivated is to, and this kind of ties into the first one, I just kind of mentioned it, I didn't even realize it was a separate point, to recognize your accomplishments instead of wanting more. So yeah, if you think about like all of the things that you've done up until this point, like even if you just think about it on a grander scale of like your entire life, like all of the things that you've accomplished, why don't you kind of appreciate those things that you've done and kind of recognize those things? Because I'm this way and I'm very guilty of this. Like once I accomplish one thing, it's on to the next, like right away. Like once I already am like 3 steps ahead in my mind of like what I want to do next. And I think that sometimes what this does is it takes away from like the joy of having done your other goals, like having accomplished your other goals. And a great way of kind of seeing this is like if you journal, right? Like read your past journal entries and like go back a year or something. Like if you keep your old journals, I don't know if you do, some people throw them away. Mine, I don't think I throw them away, but I write so much that it's like some things just end up getting lost. But if you just like read your past journal entries and you see like where you were a year ago today, I think that will make you a lot more grateful for like all of the stuff that you've done up until this point, and like just kind of like recognize and be grateful and appreciative toward yourself for having accomplished like a lot of things and like having reached certain goals, because by this point in your life you probably have already. So you know, taking the time to actually acknowledge those things is really important. And then something really interesting, it's like a scientific fact, is that the same amount of dopamine is released in your brain when you celebrate milestones and not just the end goal. And I don't remember the exact like source of this information, but it's something of that nature, where like the same chemicals are being released in your brain when you do something small and you kind of like are elevated in your emotional state, just as much as like when you celebrate the end big goal. But yeah, recognize your accomplishments and don't always just strive for like the next goal. Like really just take a second and, you know, recognize what you have done up until this point, because if you did it once, you can do it again. And if you did something small and you keep doing small things here and there, then eventually it's going to lead to something very big. And that's a very great way to stay motivated. It's just looking at your past and seeing what you've already done and really being appreciative towards it, because the same feeling that you had when you accomplished those small things in the past is probably going to be like the feeling that you're going to have when you accomplish your future goals. So you kind of like draw on those emotions to kind of like predict that you'll feel in your future, if you know what I mean. So yeah, recognizing your accomplishment is important. Rewarding yourself periodically is important as well. Okay, what else can we do to stay motivated? So I'm a very firm believer in keeping your physical health in order to feel your best, and I feel like this goes without saying, but it's just so true. Like, to feel your best, that's how you're going to stay motivated. And you can't ignore that your physical health plays a very like large part in your life. If you're not feeling well physically, then how are you even going to find the energy to do anything, let alone accomplish any goals or stay motivated and just like have an inspired way of looking at things, you know what I mean, and having like a good mental state as well. So I feel like your physical health is really important, and taking care of your physical health, and it can mean many things. It can mean working out, it can mean stretching, it can mean just like eating cleaner, eating better, not necessarily like being perfect and doing all the things at one time, but just like really being honest with yourself and changing like little things that might not be doing the best for your health, you know what I mean. And I feel like when you're feeling good physically, it will only do good in like the energetic realm of things and in like your inner state of like motivation. And there are many synonyms for motivation. Motivation doesn't just mean motivation. Motivation is also like just, you know, that lust for life that people talk about and sing about. So it's just very important to take care of your physical body. And you know, that's also like a common belief in like a lot of religions and stuff, that like your body is a temple and take care of your body. And if it's something that's across the board, and then it's something worth looking at. And in addition to physical health, you know, self-care, self-respect all tie into your physical health. So just taking care of your physical body is a really good way of staying motivated. And in the context of working out, like just seeing those little changes in your body when you've been keeping up with your workouts and actually like being dedicated to your workout routine is a really good way of staying motivated. So if you kind of think about it in that way, and you know, if you put away the sweets, like say you like binge eat sweets and stuff, and you notice that like, your skin is maybe not the best, and like you're having a little bit of a gut problem, or you're just like drinking too much and you have a little bit of like a beer belly, when you stop doing those things and you kind of like see the little changes in your body, it's a really good way of staying motivated. And just like overall, your mood is definitely affected by how you are feeling in your body, clearly. So how can you ignore that? You really can't. And it's really important in staying motivated and stuff. Another way to stay motivated is to stay disciplined. And this is definitely in relation to physical health, but there's other ways that you can stay disciplined. And I feel like it's not talked about enough how much of a reward just being disciplined can bring into your life. Like so something that I wrote down is like, don't overdo the to-do list, but have your goals written down so that they're crystal clear. Set dates, you know what I mean. So staying disciplined doesn't necessarily mean like you write a list of things that you have to do, and like you're not happy until everything is checked off that list. In fact, that can actually be like really unhealthy and kind of have the opposite effect of staying motivated. But with that being said, while you shouldn't overdo that, I think it is really important to kind of at least have a goal in mind and be like crystal clear about where you want to be and what you want to do, and set like, it doesn't have to be a specific day or anything, but like maybe by this time of year I will have done this, like, you know, by the summertime I will have lost 10 pounds kind of thing. And yeah, I feel like setting dates is important. I feel like having a timeline of things, unless it's like a very like overall lifestyle kind of thing, and like, you know, just for your like something that's very long term, for like the smaller things and the more like technical kind of things, just staying disciplined is really important. And it also has a really nice effect on your mind as well, when you're disciplined and stuff. And again, this is something that's talked about throughout like a lot of belief systems, so I think that it's really important in implementing into your life. And staying disciplined can also mean like not overindulging. This is something that I come to time and time again, and it can apply to many things like food, you know, not overindulging in food, because when you do, clearly you're going to not be your healthiest. You might gain weight, you might just start feeling like very sluggish. Drinking, we all know what happens when you drink too much. It's not very pleasant, you know. Don't overindulge, and that has to do with self-discipline. And then also it can be in the context of other things that are not like taking in physically, but you're taking in mentally, like media. Not overindulging on the amount of time that you're spending on social media, not overindulging in like a certain I think media is like a really big one, because something for me is like, I notice when I spend too much time online, or like when I spend too much time just like taking in media like TV, or just like if I follow somebody that I really respect but like I listen to them too much, you just kind of get hazy on like what is coming from your own brain and what is coming from outside sources. And it's like, it's really good to like take breaks and stuff like that. And I think that that ties into overindulgence, right? Because you can pretty much overdo anything. You can even overdo good things and then they end up being bad. So there's like a balance that happens there, and staying disciplined is like kind of at the top of that pyramid of, you know, things. So yeah, stay disciplined. Another important way to stay motivated, and I feel like, well, actually I'm gonna save that one for last because I think that kind of like ties everything together. But how to stay motivated: clear your mind. You know, overindulgence is a good way. I mean, cutting down on overindulgence is a good way to clear your mind. But it can also be just like, you know, decluttering your room. Like, that's a really big one for me. I feel like when the space is clean, it doesn't have to be like, I noticed that like when I overdo it and I'm tidy to the point where I'm like, this is not me, like where's all my stuff, it doesn't really do anything for me. But and for the most part, like just making sure there's enough space in my room for me to like walk around and stuff. Cleaning every once in a while, like we all know how that feels, like when you wash your sheets and you have a candle on and your room is pretty clean and like your floors are clean, your laundry's done, how that kind of feels. So I think that's a good way to clear your mind, is like decluttering. But it can mean many things to different people. But whatever you have to do to clear your mind, maybe it's taking a break from your phone, taking a break from doing work, taking a break from socializing, whatever it is that's going to kind of bring you more centered. Do that, because eventually that will show itself in your life in a very positive way, and it will probably more likely than not lead you to be more motivated. And then the next thing that I want to talk about for staying motivated is like organization. And I almost want to laugh when I say that, because I'm not like the most organized person. I'm actually like kind of messy. Yeah, I'm looking at my mess right now. Like, I'm actually like a kind of messy person. I'm not a dirty person though. A messy person is very different. But I don't feel like you have to be like the tidiest or the neatest person, unless that's your jam and you're like really into like everything being super clean. I know I have friends like this, but regardless of like what your style of like, you know, your lifestyle is like, to some degree organization is important when it comes to staying motivated and stuff, and when it comes to like staying on point, because it just helps. Like, I don't know, if you have a planner, you know what I mean, if you have a planner and you write things down that you have to do, even if it's not like all done in the same day, it helps you stay on track, and it helps you kind of like we can't remember everything all the time, you know what I mean? Like, it's just organization, it's an aid, and you can utilize it to aid you in whatever way you want, and it doesn't have to be like this, oh, everything has to go, this massive kind of thing. But just like the small ways that we organize our life can lead us to be more motivated, because it can lessen the forgetfulness that I know I have, at least, and it can kind of like just eliminate a lot of the fatigue that we might feel. Like, for example, getting your bag ready for your day the day before instead of doing it in the morning can kind of free up some energy to do other things, you know what I mean? Like, maybe you can take more time getting ready in the morning instead of trying to get everything together last minute. Like, organization in whatever way you choose to implement it into your life is really important, and especially in the context of staying motivated, because it helps you. It doesn't hurt you, it helps you. It can hurt you if you overdo it and you give yourself anxiety over like overly organizing your life. But I feel like to some degree, whatever way it fits into your life, you know, try to implement a little bit more organization. Unless you're like a very organized person, then that's not really a problem for you, but this is something that's helped me stay motivated. Yeah, and how to stay motivated, girl? Imagination. That SpongeBob meme, imagination. Like, imagination, because if you can kind of imagine and envision what it's going to be like once you get to where you're going, that you're staying motivated for, and it doesn't really have to be like a concrete place or a concrete thing that you're staying motivated to do. It could just be like overall feeling of motivation when you wake up and you get out of bed. A lot of us are like, you know that meme, it's like, oh, not this shit again. But like, I feel like imagination is key. And like, I read in this book, I'm pretty sure it was Think and Grow Rich, that like the imagination is something that you have to, it's like a muscle that you have to keep activating in order for it to be like at the forefront of your mind, especially like creative imagination. And yeah, like imagination is just so important, because without it, how are you even like seeing your future? You know, like, it's fun to daydream, it's fun to imagine what could be, and I feel like that's really important in staying motivated, because you're painting your life in your mind and it's giving you something to strive for. Wow, I just said that very well. Oh my god, I like when I can actually communicate what I'm thinking. So yeah, imagination is key, especially if you're a very creative person, or like you're an artist or anything like that. You already know, but even if you're not, like, just start utilizing your imagination more. And you know, don't like see things as like tedious and like I have to do this. Like, just think about what could be in the future if you just continue to try and continue to strive to be better and to do more. And then how to stay motivated, be kind to yourself in general. Don't like beat yourself up and kind of like be hard on yourself and stuff. I'm guilty of this as well. I'm guilty of a lot of the opposites of these things that I'm suggesting, but like, you learn through trial and error type thing. Yeah, just be nice to yourself. Yeah, celebrating your small wins is a really easy way to do that, but also just in general, like, notice when you're talking very down to yourself, or like when you're in a negative kind of spiral in your mind, because there's already so many things that are discouraging. Like, I don't know if you've been living in the same world as me for the past like 8 months, but it's been pretty like insane. Not even past 8 months, past year and a half. I've lost track of time at this point. But like, be kind to yourself. It's the very least that you can do, and it's going to help you just have the desire to do anything, which is essentially what motivation is. So yeah, just be kind to yourself. Be mindful of like your self-talk and stuff. And lastly, how to stay motivated is, are y'all ready for this? It might go over y'all heads, it might go over your head a little bit, because it kind of goes against, it's kind of like but rest. I said it. Rest is like probably the #1 thing that's going to keep you motivated and keep you joyful, keep you, you know, in that energy state where you are not only doing the things that you set out to do, but so much more. because you need to rest. Even if you are the most go-getter-ish type of person like me, you know, you need to rest every once in a while. You're not a superhero. Like, you're a human being. Your body needs to rest, and this is like a really strong lesson that I've learned over the past like 2 months. I would say I have spent so much time sleeping, so much time just like, well, I've also had like a little bit of a injury, I guess you could say, but lack of rest, you can't get anything done from a place of being like so tired and being so like overworked. Like, you're gonna have to rest eventually, and rest doesn't necessarily mean sleep, although sleep is like the most restorative kind of rest you can get. Rest can just mean taking a break, like not working too much, you know what I mean? Like, I don't like working 12 hours a day 5 days a week. Like, that's not the life I want. So I kind of like adjust my schedule, and I don't take on more than I can handle, even if it will bring me more money or it will bring me more of something like more material. I still won't do it, because energetically I can't get anything done in my mind, and I can't be of use to anybody if I'm not taking care of myself. And resting is just like the best way to like replenish your energy and keep you going. You know, you don't want to run on E. That's basically what happens when you're not resting enough. So whenever you can, you know, make space for that. Even it can mean just like going to bed 1 hour earlier. Me, I take my sleep very seriously, and it's been because of what I've been going through that's kind of put me in bed, like on bed rest kind of situation for a while. And you know, it just really taught me the importance of resting, and how much can happen from that place, and how much can happen from the place of just like listening to your body. Like, even just like tuning in and just seeing, okay body, like how do you feel, and just kind of like noticing how your body's feeling. Like, maybe you have a little bit of tension in your shoulder, just like focus on that part and just kind of like get back into your body, listen to it. If you're full, you know, not eating more. If you're tired, sleeping. If you have a lot of energy, utilizing that energy. Like, just like really tuning into like your physical body is such a big thing, and it's a topic of like hella research. Like, I'm a nerd. I listen to a lot of lectures. I'm really into the healing of trauma. I'm really into like all of these things, and like the brain chemistry and etc, etc. The list goes on. I'll do other videos on that. It's a whole different topic, but rest is really important, and rest is what's going to keep you going. And then these are some things that I wrote down. That this may sound counterintuitive, but it's really true. That the more that you rest, the more you get done energetically. Let that sink in. And you know, it's about listening to your body, because you can't get anything done when your cup isn't metaphorically full. And yeah, rest. You know, rest. Take care of yourself. Take that day. Take that lazy day, and don't fill it with like TV and like, you know, mindless activities. Like, just take time. A good way to rest is just spending time in solitude. And I read this book called Digital Minimalism by Cal Newport, and in it he talks about solitude. There's like a whole chapter on solitude, and I really liked his definition of solitude, because I haven't really heard it put this way, but in different words, I'm paraphrasing. Solitude is when you spend time with your own thoughts, without the influence of other people and other people's thoughts and other people's energy. So, you know, solitude isn't going to the park and listening to a podcast or reading a book, even though those are really good activities, and like I feel like they're way more beneficial than a lot of things that we could be doing with our time. Solitude, true solitude, would be going to the park and not having your headphones in, going to the park and not listening to music, not listening to a podcast, and just walking and being in your own brain and being in your own body, and just spending time, because that's when like ideas come to us, and that's when we get inspired, when we're really like in tune with who we are and what we think and what we want to do. And it gives us like a clearer vision outside of the influence of other people. And he gave a great example of like Abraham Lincoln going to like this cabin for like 3 days, and just literally sitting in a chair on his porch for like 3 days, not talking to anybody, just completely silent, just thinking, looking at the yard in front of him. This is a really extreme example, but it's just like an example of what solitude is. and I think solitude is a form of rest, and it is really restorative as well. So I hope I haven't nerded out too much on you. I hope you're still watching this. If you are, leave me a thumbs up, because that will really make me feel good and make me happy. We're on our road to 500 subscribers, which is really exciting, and I'm so happy for anybody who's watching me. But yes, these are some tips that I have on staying motivated. These are some things that I try to do when I'm being good, you know what I'm saying. But yeah, how to stay motivated. Hope this was helpful. If it was, leave me a comment. And if there are things that you do to kind of keep your energy up, keep yourself feeling alive, then let me know in the comments down below, because I would really appreciate it. And I feel like this is a very good topic that's worth discussing. So yeah, hope you enjoyed it. Remember to subscribe to your girl. See you soon, and let me know what else you want to see. I love sitting down and doing these kinds of videos. And if you enjoyed my little setup with my flowers and stuff, then my flowers say thank you. Besos, thank you so much. Bye.